Wrecked him. I said, darn near killed him. Oh, hello there. Thank you for joining us once again for this, the 19th episode of Heroes and Villains.
Drunk Doctor Who, Heroes and Villains.
Drunk Doctor Who Apocrypha?
No, it's not
Subsidiary?
No, the only thing that would technically
It's not in the
be
main series.
Apocrypha would be
If we started a television series. A radio series. Audio.
Alright, today is September 6th, 2021. We realized that we didn't have our last episode. We didn't have the date up there.
Whoops. That's my bad.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to talk about the Macra. And then here, right after this episode, we'll be talking about the Great Intelligence.
I'm still waiting on the Micro.
No, it's not Macro, it's Macra.
Macra.
Alright.
Crustacean.
So the Macra...
Do you think they would taste good with like a cocktail sauce?
I have no idea.
Those big claws.
Big crabs. Alright.
I like the Macra Terror. That was a good series.
It was fun, and I like the animation for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we have that now. I'm so glad they're going to keep animating all the missing stuff. We decided to do this today because we watched a movie rather than Doctor Who, because he didn't want to drink because we both way overdid it last night. It was my wife and I's 12th wedding anniversary, and we had a party and...
Birthdays and anniversaries.
And parties, and we just overdid it. So I'm still drinking some tonight because this is a drinking night.
Birthday's on the 30th, 28th. When did he say his birthday was? 19th, I think.
Who?
Talon.
The 18th of last month.
Oh, last month. I thought
18th of last month.
Oh, okay.
And mine's the 19th of this month.
Mine was the 30th of last month.
Yeah, that's when we had the last podcast.
Yeah.
Alright, so the Macra show up first in a second Doctor Who serial, the Macra Terror, which is during his first season, serial 34. It was aired in 1967. They don't show up again. This is one of the longest...
I didn't even know the Macra were recurring though. They show up again?
They show up again.
Oh.
Let's see, which is one of the reasons we're doing them. They show up again for the 10th Doctor. In... Oh, it's Sarah Adventures.
That's a ways away.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's Torchwood. Alright, come on.
Ooh, the Silurians have high death count.
Let's see.
I think I have the...
Is it Tooth and Claw?
wrong notebook. I thought it was the Macra Terror.
No, the one where they
the
show
way
up
they
in
come
next.
back. Oh, okay. Autons are a good one.
No, Gridlock. They show up in Gridlock in 2007. So 40 years later. Literally 40 years.
Is that a serial about how they don't have a roundabout, so everyone gets in the traffic jam?
Kinda?
That's kind of what... Oh, I'm thinking a gridiron is that's what they call their football there in England.
Well, that's what we call our football fields here, the gridirons.
But we call it football. They call the whole sport gridiron.
Alright, well that makes sense. And we call their football soccer,
football, yeah.
Which is actually a British term from associated football.
Oh.
Alright, so anyway, the Macra are giant crabs, and they're fairly intelligent in the Macra Terror. When we see them again in Gridlock, 40 years later,
Are they dumbed down?
they're dumbed down. They are less intelligent version of the species, which, you know, happens.
That says a lot about society. Do you know if we're meeting them again in the future, or do they travel in past before the Macra Terror? Maybe they started dumbed down
And they got more
and
intelligent.
they got more intelligent. Yeah,
Right, because you don't know when the time is on anything. I think there is a list somewhere of all the Doctor Who episodes in chronological order, not as they were aired, but as they would have happened.
I would love to see a Doctor Who timeline. That's something I've been
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
build in my head, yeah.
Anyway, so Macra are really, really giant crabs. They are controlling the society in the Macra Terror. We've already done that story. In the future, there are more dumb kind of animals.
That's
And
unfortunate. I really like the intelligent Macra, where they're like this underground society of
manipulating everything.
right. Yeah, really
very
secretly controlling the
paranoia-esque.
government.
Yeah.
Putting. It was very 1984-ish with the
Yes, paranoia-ish.
with the face and the.
Very Orwellian.
Mm-hmm. That's the word.
The poor guy, help me, help me. Okay.
Also, we got to see some companions get terrorized,
Yeah.
and Zoe get picked up by the big claw.
Yeah, they
And
took
then,
a few liberties with the animation that weren't in the original story quite, because the
But that was
production company, the original story that produced the Macra, were really lacking, and that was the last time
They got
BBC
fired
worked
after
for them with
that.
Doctor Who. Yeah. All right.
So she was supposed to be picked up in the original script, but
They took a few liberties. I don't know if it's in the original script or not.
okay.
I don't have a copy.
Like when she kind of just like pulled clown.
Okay.
It's hard to tell in the reconstruction.
Do you have any questions about the Macra? They're crabs. There's not a whole lot to talk about, I guess. I didn't even think about that one. We chose to cover them, but we're covering them because they're reoccurring
Yeah.
40 years apart.
Just the one time they come back.
Yeah, thus far.
Oh.
Thus far. It's only been once. So we see them. It's 1967 and in 2007.
So when we see them again, does it ever explain the origins? Do we get to know if they're sea-dwelling creatures or they came from a different planet?
No, not really. Remember, they're not sea dwelling. They live in that gas.
Oh yeah.
But the gas.
Cave crabs.
Right. But in Gridlock, the gas has gotten so bad in the city because of everybody being in Gridlock. Well, the bottom levels of the city.
Anti-pollution story.
Right, the crabs.
Oh,
And Doctor
strong.
Who has been very much about anti-pollution for a long time. Remember the Green Death being a great example. And it still is very anti-pollution. The show's always been a bit on the left and has always been, I wouldn't say anti-conservative values necessarily, but their causes are very leftist. Like the gotta clean up the earth, stop the climate change, all that. It's always kind of been that way, although it used to be a lot more subtle back in the day. Nowadays they beat you over the head with it. But it is somewhat baked into the show. It's a government entity, and so as a government entity, the BBC is going to lean left because they want more government so they get more money. Yeah, that's where they get their funding. They're not a private corporation. So yeah. Oh man, and I think they hated Thatcher being on the left. Yeah, they make fun of her in a couple of the stories.
Oh, and Doctor Who?
Yeah, and they hate Trump. They make fun of him in a couple of stories.
That's odd. That's so weird. It's like
once again, a bit of a left,
fourth wall. Yeah,
a good bit of left stance is baked into the show. Right, and like I said, in the old days, in 20th century Doctor Who, you got the message, but you weren't browbeaten with it. It was a lot more subtle. Sometimes it wasn't. But these days, it's just they kind of browbeat you with it, you know. Gotcha. But there's a very Trump-like character in the modern stuff that shows up 2 or 3 times. Yeah. Anyway, so the Macra Terror is one of those that are animated. And
do you think you could beat him in an arm wrestling contest?
Who?
The Macra Terror.
No. No.
What about the small ones?
They're giant.
Are they birth giant? Do you think they start off that way?
No, they probably start off small and then they get bigger.
There you go.
Crabs keep growing. Let's see. But anyway, so the animated stories, they're good. They keep coming out with them.
I like the animated ones.
Right now for the.
I still have to animate like all of Hartnell's stuff. He has like 2 of his are animated. There's
2 or 3 they finished with animation or refinished with animation. But they're right now working on one of his. They've finally gone back to him.
Oh, good.
To work on one of his.
I think it'd be really cool to watch.
Galaxy 4, I believe. Yeah, Galaxy 4. It's supposed to come out like 2022 or 2023.
Right. It's a slow process.
Yep. The other ones they're working on, Evil of the Daleks, I believe. Another Troughton story.
These are.
Oh, so sorry. They went back to Hartnell. Abominable Snowman.
That's a good one.
2023.
That's a recurring villain.
Yes. And we'll talk about them because they're both part of the Great Intelligence.
Oh wait,
which is our
next
episode.
The Yeti.
Yeah. The Great Intelligence controls the Yeti.
Is the Yeti. Okay.
But they're finishing up Web of Fear, which is supposed to be out this October, I think.
Oh yeah.
So they're animating that one missing episode to it.
That's where we first meet the Brigadier.
Yeah, that one missing episode. Yeah. So because they're only going to have the Yeti animated, then they're going to the other Yeti story that only has one episode and 5 missing.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. They're also working on The Wheel in Space, which should be out sometime in 2022.
Space.
And 2 days before my birthday, here in a couple of weeks, we're getting another, I think, 7th Doctor season.
Well, there you go.
Coming out. Thank you. Oh man, let's see.
I heard that the BBC heard that it was going to be your birthday, so you're like,
no.
You gotta finish the 7th Doctor.
I'll leave it. Yeah, season 24, first season of Sylvester McCoy, comes out 9/21/2021. 2 days after my birthday.
Do you like Sylvester McCoy as a doctor? 2-part question, and how do you think Sylvester Stallone would do as the doctor?
Sylvester Stallone will never be the doctor. They're not going to get...
TARDIS.
I don't think they're ever going to have a non-Brit. Pardon me, a non-UK, United Kingdom person. Alright, so...
But they're both named Sylvester, so that's...
Yeah. I like Sylvester McCoy, okay. He was a sight better than the 6th Doctor.
Not better than a Sylvester Stallone Doctor.
No. But that'll be his second one. He only has 3 seasons. So he might be the first classic Doctor to have all the seasons in Blu-ray.
Okay. Oh, there you go.
All 3 of them, yeah. We'll see. Of course, the 6th Doctor is also a candidate. He only has 2 seasons. And a single episode from the previous season of a different Doctor, the 5th Doctor. And he's got one of his 2 seasons done. But because of that one episode, don't know. Alright. Did you have any questions about the Macra? The Great Intelligence will be a much better conversation.
Can't wait to see him again.
He comes back.
Do they use the same production company that made the models? Do you think they just pulled the old models out of the storage shed?
The next time we see the Great Intelligence...
Do they have a makeover?
There are no Yeti.
No, I'm talking about the Macra.
Oh, the Macra?
Next time we see
No, it's CGI.
Oh, the new one is CGI? Where they
I think the new Macra is CGI.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think so. I'd have to double check because it's kind of hard to see them, but I believe they're CGI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably a better fit for the Macra.
Yeah. All right.
I think that's it.
Okay. All right, short episode. Okay.
We'll see you next week.
We'll see you in about 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
All right.
Get out of here, you kids.
Get
off my lawn.